Welcome! This is how I made a funky bow out of scrap ribbons. So whenever I have leftover ribbon on a roll and I take it off, or just leftover from wreath kits, I put them in this box. So I found 4 that I liked that would match. So I'm gonna start out with this 1.5 inch width ribbon, and I'm doing a 6-inch tail and a 6-inch loop, and I'm just doing 1 loop and 2 tails on this first layer. And so I'm cutting 4 inches for the top tail. So I don't want the top tail to be as long as the bottom tail. Just make sure you keep the 2 tails and the loop separated so you know where the center is. Now this piece I'm cutting, I don't know, it was probably about 12 inches or longer. I wanted to make sure that both welcomes were shown. And I'm not measuring any more on this bow. I'm just using that top one as a guide and then going from there, making the loops and tails as big or as long as I want them to be. So I just did 2 tails and 2 loops, and I'm going to continue that on this one as well. So I'm using 1.5 inch width and 2.5 inch width ribbons. And again, you can do as many tails, many loops as you want. You can make them as big as you want. Just make sure that you've got your center marked with your hand and that you're keeping those separate. So you can either think of one side as the left side and one as the right side, or top and bottom. Just depends on how you're holding it and how you want to think about it. But when I do these funky bows, I almost always end up with a loop that didn't get attached in the center, and I will show you that towards the end. So I'm back to the watermelon ribbon. So you can keep layering these with however many ribbons and just keep layering the same ribbons. Just depending on how much ribbon you have left, or if you've got full rolls of ribbon, you can keep making as many as you want to. This doesn't have to be just from scrap ribbon, but I'd like to show how I save my ribbons and I use them like this. And I've had really short pieces before and just made like one tail out of a short piece. So this one I did as many loops and tails as I had left on that roll. Then I'm going back to the green. So I'm layering again the same ribbons over and over again. So I started with the watermelon and then the green. So I'm just going back and forth. So every time you make a loop and then you go to make your next loop, always twist that ribbon before you make that second loop or that third loop or fourth loop. Just keep twisting that ribbon a half a twist. That way your design will always stay on top when you make that loop. And it just makes a better bow too. So just going to keep twisting that, making as many loops as I want. Cut that off where you want the tail. And you see as you're building it and it's getting bigger, it's harder to keep it held in the center and to know which ones go in the center and which ones don't. So again with the welcome. And with this ribbon, I don't like cutting it in the middle of the welcome. I hate doing that, so I try to cut it between the welcomes. Now I'm just taking a cable tie or zip tie around the center and wrapping it around, tightening it off. And there will be a loop that did not get attached, and I'll show you that. And this happens to me at least half the time when I make one of these funky bows. So you want to cut that off at the little knot. And then flip it back over. See, the very top one, I didn't get it attached right. So what I'm going to do is just grab another zip tie and go over it again. Just secure that center again. I still left the other one on there, just making sure that that one loop gets attached correctly so it makes a loop. Then it's not going to hurt it to have 2 zip ties. It's just going to be twice as secure now. Get that pull as tight as you can and cut that off. Now I'm going to trim up the ends. So I like to cut dovetails or V-shape, whatever you want to call it. And then you can also cut them at a slant, or you can fold them under. The only thing about folding the ends under is they won't stay, so it doesn't look as good. But when you cut the ribbons, then you got fraying. So you can add like no fray, or you can take a lighter and quickly get close to the end to heat seal it. Nothing is perfect. They're still going to fray and you still have to touch them up a lot. So I'm just quickly showing you, going over all the ends of the tails. And I just love these bows. I think they're so much fun with all the different tails and loops going different directions. So now I'm just taking a chenille stem, wrapping it around the center and tying that off. That way you have something to hang it with. Plus that's going to cover up the zip tie and give it a prettier thing in the center. Not that you can really see it, but just in case. You can also use tinsel wire to tie it off, especially if you need a bigger or heavier hanger. Then I suggest buying a roll of tinsel wire. Now for the joys of video making. Please consider subscribing to my channel and don't forget to hit that bell. Please consider subscribing to my channel and don't forget to tap that bell because that will give you notifications on my uploads, live streams, and premieres. Happy mum making and happy crafting, everyone. I hope you have a great day. Don't forget to be kind to others and be kind to yourself. Thank you. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel right here. Here is one of my latest uploads. Please check that out. Here is a playlist with lots of great videos, and right here is one more video you might enjoy.